So we're going to talk about film point and shoot cameras. Now, film point and shoot's a bit of a redundant term these days, isn't it? Because literally everything, like even the most sophisticated digital SLRs, you can put it into program mode, point it, autofocuses, and it shoots. So, an iPhone, just click. So, I mean, but where this sort of originates from is, I think during the 80s and 90s, obviously there was the SLR film cameras, but there was a place in the market, obviously, for much simpler cameras for members of the family to use who weren't photo professionals. So this whole range of point and shoot, like literally really simple controlled point and shoot cameras arose. And so what we'll do is we'll have a look at sort of various parts of that world. And if you're sort of coming from digital and you want to go into film, or you've never shot film before, you've never done really any photography, hopefully this will help you make some choices. I mean, because they're very popular cameras. So to me, they sort of fall into three groups. There's sort of like, you've got full disposable, and basically there's two versions. That's an underwater one, but you can also buy like obviously above ground versions. You shoot your film, 27, 28 exposures sometimes, hand it in, you don't get the camera back, and you just get your scans of your prints. And then there's sort of this version, which is quite, it's like it's a plastic fantastic. It's a disposable. It's not disposable. It's a reusable, but it's sort of like plastic lens. You put your film in. It's not particularly high tech. Very low risk because obviously they're like 25 or 30 quid to buy, and it's got a flash built in and stuff like that. And this has no flash, and they're all plastic, sort of plastic lenses and stuff like that. So these are really, the cheapy ones. Then you've got sort of a bit more complicated. This is, well, like standard ones. These two came from like the 80s and 90s. These had a few more features, did a few more things. And then the last group is like the complicated ones where, the sort of final evolution of the film point and shoot. So we'll have a look at the like disposable things first of all. Single use or disposable cameras, these, you can buy them anywhere online pretty much. 28, 30 pounds or even less. Two types, as I said, there's like the ones for land, and you get these sports versions that you can go in the sea. These are brilliant for surfing. This one's, it's got 800 ISO film. I think it's got an f8 lens on it with 27 exposures. But literally you could take this, strap this, comes with a rubber strap, put it on your wrist when you go surfing or swimming, whatever you do, and you can take great photos with these things. They're brilliant. I've got like a box of these for when I go surfing, so you can just take it out, no risk at all. I mean, if you lose it, I think they float, I can't remember. I think they go down to about 3 meters, 2 meters. They certainly can survive the surf anyway. And then you've got the normal non-waterproof versions, which like there's black and white ones you can get colour ones and all that. And they're great. There's no risk with these cameras. You just literally shoot them, hand them in, get your prints back. So you're not spending money. If they break, who cares if you lose it? Not too bothered. Then you've got sort of this version, Harman. This is a Harman one. They're sort of reusable. Reusable low-cost cameras. So you pop a roll of film in. There's no controls on these whatsoever apart from basically turning the flash on and off, and like pressing the shutter button and a plastic winder. You can get these really cheap. I think these come with a roll of Ilford something in them, and then you just send it off and get them developed. There's a battery here for the flash. There's like no. This is like great because you can take it anywhere. I'm not sure about the lens. It might be f8 on this as well. To focus them, you just have to be like up beyond 6 feet or something. It's one of those based off of hyperfocal distance where there's an area of a certain distance away from the lens which is acceptably in focus, and in bright light, obviously, f8, tons of stuff's in focus. So yeah, so you can't really do close-ups with these, but these are really good. I mean, I have one of these as a backup because I mean, it's just like on a beach or something. These are fantastic things to have. So that's like fully disposable and sort of like super cheap, cheaper ones. It's a great way into film. There's no risk at all, really, is there? If it breaks, who cares? Anyway, so now we'll look at the sort of standard ones. So I think during the 80s and 90s, these sort of things came onto market. They're autofocus, self-winding, they've got limited controls. This is basically, this is a Nikon AF3, open up the front. You either hold that down if you don't want the flash to fire, take it off, or the flash will fire if it needs the light. Press the button. When it goes to the end of the roll, rewinds back. There's tons of variations of this type of camera out there. Some of them are stupidly expensive now because things like the Yashica T4 or T5, because they've been attached to famous photographers. They're great cameras. They've got like I think there's a Zeiss lens in one of them. They're great cameras, but I mean, £300-400 for these things is crazy. What I'll do is in the bottom in the comments area, I'll put a link to a couple of shops that sell other ones. I'll talk about that in a second. Then you got this one. This is an underwater version of this one. These are great. You know, take this again. You take this surfing. You've got to be careful. It's like a 30-year-old camera, so you've got to make sure you grease the seals on it, stuff like this. This is a Nikon AWAF, but this has got a little bit more to it. You can autofocus, and also you can do not manual focus, hyperfocal distances, because focusing underwater is a bit trickier than focusing in air. But I mean, yeah. So the thing with these is, I mean, obviously, there's been a big upsurgence in film, so people are sort of jumping back in to buy these cameras. As I said, some of them have gone to crazy money. However, during the 80s, 90s, loads of other manufacturers, Pentax, people like that, made really good, quite good quality sort of versions of these cameras that do exactly the same as these. Pentax, got this tons of Pentax SPOs, stuff like that, and they're really affordable. So if you're looking for an easy path into shooting film, get one of those. I'm going to put a website up on this link. It's called 135compact.com, and that guy shot loads of them. But you'll see there's so many you can choose from. Sometimes you get them real bargains. I mean, these things. I think I got this for 50 quid or less. They're like about £200 now. They shouldn't be. You used to be able to pick these up for like £1, 5 years ago in the second-hand shops. But yeah, so I wouldn't advise the Muji 2. There's like a real notorious list of these cameras that everybody's reviewed. Everybody said it's amazing. Everybody said it should be the point and shoot you get. I say don't do that. I say find a cheap one with a reasonable f3.5 lens or something like that. Practice, see what you feel. If you like it, then yeah, if you've got the money, do what you like. But you might want to get a film SLR then. But they're really, it's difficult to repair some of these as well, if repairable at all. But yeah, so there's great bargains still out there if you don't want to pay the premium for like a heavily reviewed like the Muji 2 or the Yashica T5 or T4, I can't remember. Anyway, that brings us to the last group, because obviously the prices are going up. Brings us to the last group, which is the more complicated point and shoot cameras. This is the last group that, obviously the camera manufacturers realised that they needed a prestige line of point and shoots. So they started to produce things like this. This is a Fuji DL Super Mini Tiara. It's like super design, lens comes out. But you've got some amazing cameras out there that got great functionality to them, and they're really good, like Nikon 35 Ti, the contact cameras, the very famous contact ones. And they're on the market, and so they're still out there to buy. But there's huge risk attached with these. These are really complicated. They're difficult to repair. They cost stupid money. Some of them, the contacts do especially. And it's one of those things where, like me, I've got tons of film SLRs. I mean, I've got one clever point and shoot because I don't see the need to have a super expensive contact T2. I'd rather shoot contact SLRs. They're great cameras. And so basically you've got, massive expense with these. They're all good cameras, but I think that, there's like risk. You can't get it repaired if it breaks. If you lose it, because they are quite small and dainty, some of these, it's a real problem. So I just would err with caution. I wouldn't choose something like this as your first film camera. I'd go like with something in the middle, or just shoot a bit of disposable to start off with, because they are slightly overpriced now and they're sort of not worth the money. It's quite simply. There's better things to be had out there, but they are good. So yeah, so I'll put some links below to different places you can have a look for different types of points and shoots. But this is point and shoot. These type of cameras are the best way in to shoot film if you don't know much about photography. And they're also, if you do shoot loads of digital, they're really handy to have one of these around if you just want to shoot some film. And they're not, you don't have to buy the lenses, you don't have to do all these sorts of things. You can just get it, put some film in it, and go and shoot it. So there you go. So I hope that's been helpful. I'll do one about film SLRs and autofocus SLRs, a video about them, so you can have a look at those. Anyway, thanks for watching.